former IDF spokesperson, Field Officer Ophir. Good afternoon to you. Nice to have you with us.
Nice to be here.
This is an incredible day. Nobody is going to suggest otherwise. But of course, the key is that every day looks like this for many years to come.
Yeah, look, I think really the fine print is what is going to determine if this agreement is successful or not. On the face of it, Israel in this agreement got everything it needed to guarantee its security and safety. We got Hamas demilitarizing, we got Hamas not being a part of the future governance of Gaza. So what is left to see is if Hamas will really stick to the agreement. And we already see, as you mentioned to Flair, that Hamas is not meeting the terms of the agreement that stipulated Hamas has to return the 28 bodies of the deceased hostages, the murdered hostages, to Israel. I highly doubt that Hamas only knows where 4 of them are.
Well, that seems to be the reasoning, doesn't it? That they have lost these people somehow, which just sounds tragic even saying that out loud.
Right. But unfortunately for Hamas, unfortunately for Israel, although it wasn't apparent on October 7th, 2023, Israel has a very good intelligence community. And I'm sure that we can catch the bluff if Hamas is bluffing in this case, and if Hamas actually knows where the bodies are, when the bodies are, and they're just trying to hide them.
How confident are you? You know how the IDF operate. In terms of, could an IDF soldier tomorrow just walk down the middle of a busy area of Gaza and feel safe? I mean, are we in that territory?
I don't think we're in this territory. I don't think we ever were in this territory. And I don't think the IDF is aspiring to be in this territory per the agreement that was signed. Per the agreement, we are to withdraw to an agreed ceasefire line and then keep withdrawing as the agreement goes forward. I think our wish is not to continue to police the Gazans or anyone in the Gaza Strip. Our hope is that the international community lives up to the agreement, establishes this board of peace that Trump was admiring in his speech just an hour ago, and have a functioning technocratic government in Gaza that can ensure that Hamas does not stay in power, that Hamas hands its weapons to an agreed partner, and make sure that Israel doesn't need to send soldiers to roam around Gaza City, Khan Yunis, or anywhere else.
It's an incredible coalition of countries that have got together on this. But I'm still left with that rattling feeling. You can get the Saudis, the Qataris, you can get the Egyptians, obviously, on board for all of this. But ultimately, it's up against a terrorist organisation, an organisation that play by very different rules. We've seen it in the past.
If any rules at all.
If any rules at all, indeed.
We can dispute any rules at all for an organization that just yesterday was revealed, a handwritten note by Yahya Sinwar, the former leader of Hamas, calling to stomp on the heads of the dead soldiers and kill all the Jewish babies. I don't think they play by any rules, or at least any rules known to civilized mankind.
But that gives us an insight, does it not, as to how precarious a deal like this is. And no one is suggesting otherwise, in fairness. Even Mr. Trump, Netanyahu, they know that. But it does, when you consider the ideology or whatever the hell is going on in the minds of Hamas people, it could take one event, one person to destabilize this.
Exactly. And that's why the summit in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt is so important, because at this moment, the problem of Hamas in Gaza turns from an Israeli problem to a worldwide problem, because the world needs to understand that radical fundamentalism and Islamic extremism is not solely the problem of Israel. And I think the world understood that for a brief period of time when ISIS was gaining traction all around the world, but they need to relearn it, maybe, that Hamas is an ideology, as you said. It's not only the problem of Israel, it's a problem of all civilized nations. And so I think this summit is super important. So these countries, European, Arab, Muslim, can reaffirm their commitment to fight extremism and be on Israel's side while making sure that Hamas is not staying in Gaza.
And we know,
or anywhere else.
Indeed, and you will know, Ophir, only a week or so ago we had a terror attack in this country on a synagogue. We know that there are people with that mindset. I mentioned to Fleur these extraordinary protests that still go on almost unhindered in this country on a weekly basis for people who have a pathological hatred of Jews and Israel, which is ultimately what it's about. You've only got to look at the flags they're waving. I mean, who walks around London in the 21st century with an ISIS flag, for goodness sake? That's the territory we're in. So there are
brainwashed individuals.
Indeed, there's a lot of anti-Israel sentiment out there, and that's also part of the battle here.
Exactly, but I think first of all, I want to send my condolences from here to the families of those murdered in the horrible terror attack in your country. And as we say in Israel, everything that happens to the Jewish community all over the world is an internal affair, not an external affair in Israel. So obviously we hurt deeply by this terror attack. But I want to appeal to those protesters and maybe try to get into their minds, because when they, in the name of liberalism, in the name of progressivism, in the name of social justice, march with flags honoring terror organizations on the second anniversary of a day when those exact terror organizations slaughtered entire families in their beds, what are they advocating for? They're advocating for the extreme opposite of everything that is liberal, that is moral, that is just. They're protesting in favor of murdering people just because they're Jewish in their beds, in a music festival, or anywhere else that you can find them. And this is, to me, extremely appalling. And I really hope that the British government, as well as the American government and Australian government and all over the world, put an end to this dangerous phenomena, because protest is obviously okay under the freedom of speech and freedom of expression, which I fully support. But I think those protesters holding ISIS sign in the middle of London is a line crossed that shouldn't be allowed in a nation that wants to keep living.
100%. Ophir, lovely to have you with us. Thank you for your time. We will speak again. Ophir דיין, who is a former IDF spokesperson, field officer. Thank you to her. Thank you to Fleur as well. 034